Hello everyone, welcome back to Unix system programming session. So from today's session we shall discuss about module 4 of Unix system programming subject. So that is signals and daemon processes. Okay. So module 4 contains two chapters. One is related to signals and another one is daemon process. Okay. So first let us discuss about the concept of signals. What are signals? Actually signals are nothing but notifications, right? So notifications for whom? Notification for processes, okay? So what is the purpose of signals? In order to perform certain action, okay? Signals can be formally defined like this. As I said, signals are nothing but notifications, okay? So these notifications are triggered by some events and they are posted on a process, okay. So what is the purpose? It is used to, the purpose of signals is to notify the process that something has happened and requires some action, okay. So this is the formal definition of signals. Signals are notifications triggered by events posted on a process, and the purpose is to notify it that something has happened and requires some action, okay. So the possible examples are whenever a process performs divide by zero mathematical operation, okay. So that is an illegal operation. That operation generates a signal. So that is one of the examples, okay. And another important feature of signals is that signals can be used to establish synchronization between the parent process and the child process, okay. So these are the information about the signals, the very basic information about the signals. So actually signals are represented by the signal flags, nothing but they are represented as integer flags that are defined under signal.h header. So signals are represented by integer flags, okay. So these are defined under signal.h header file, okay. So now let us list out some of the signals. So SIG, INT, SIG, TR, M. Here I have listed few signals, nothing but the integer flags that are defined under signal.h. Actually there are a list of signals, okay, so that is defined under signal.h. So here just as an example I have listed few. So the first one SIG int, it represents the signal that is used for interruption, so particularly the process interruption, and this is the signal for process termination, and then this is for alarm timeouts, okay, and this is for illegal operation. That means if any illegal operation has taken place by a process, in that case this signal will be generated. And the last one here, this is for representing the segmentation fault, okay. So just for an example I have listed few. Actually there are many signals, so I will just display it here, okay. Okay, when a signal is sent to a process, it might be pending, okay. So the process will access the pending signal in three ways. So whenever a signal is pending at the process side, it may be handled in three ways. So first one is to perform the default action of the signal. So perform default action, okay. And second one is to ignore the signal. So in the second case the signal will be just discarded by the process. And the third one invoke the user defined function. Okay. So the third possible way is to invoke the user defined function. So nothing but we are invoking a signal handler for that particular pending signal. So these three are the different ways of handling the pending signals by the process. Okay. So now let's move on to the next concept. Next concept is Unix kernel support for signals. Okay. So we already aware that the kernel contains the process table. Okay. So in the previous modules itself we have already discussed the kernel contains the process table. So each process table in the kernel contains an array of signal flags. Okay. So each process table will contain an array of signal flags. So each of this signal flag will be associated or it will be corresponding to the particular signal. Okay. So whenever a signal is sent to a process, so the kernel will set the particular signal flag in the recipient process table. Okay. So I will repeat once again. So the kernel will contain process table. So this process table will contain an entry for each of the signals in terms of an array. So it contains an array of signal flags. So each flag will be corresponding to the particular signal. So whenever a signal is generated to a process, in that case the kernel will set the signal flag in the process table of that recipient process that is receiving the signal. Okay. Suppose if the process is in the sleeping mode, so that means the process might be waiting for its child to terminate, or the process might be either in the pause condition. In that case the process might be in the sleeping mode. In that case what will happen? So the kernel will be responsible for rescheduling the process and then start executing that process once again. So even in the sleeping mode of the process, the kernel will manage the entire process. That means the kernel will reschedule the process and it will start the execution of that particular process. Okay. So next, if the signal sent to the process, if it is in the pending state, so if the signal is pending, then the kernel will verify with the array flag. So that means it will verify with the signal flag that is present in the array. So it will check the value of the signal flag in the array. If the value is 0, if the signal flag is value having the 0, in that case default action will be performed. What will happen? Default action will be performed. Suppose if that signal flag has the value 1, in that case that particular signal will be ignored. Okay. Suppose if the signal flag has the value other than 0 and 1, so that means any other value, in that case corresponding user defined signal handler will be executed. Okay. So if you remember, I told you that whenever a pending signal is given, whenever a signal is pending at the process side, either of the three action takes place. The first action is the default action of the signal will be performed, and the second one is it might ignore the signal, and the third case is the corresponding user defined function, nothing but the user defined signal handler will be executed. Okay. So same way here, in the kernel part, so whenever the signal is pending at the process side, the kernel will verify with the signal flag in the array, and if it has the value 0, default action will be performed. If it has the value 1, then the signal will be ignored, and if it has any other value other than 0 and 1, user defined signal handler will be executed. Okay. So once the user defined signal handler is executed, in that case the control will be transferred to that particular signal handler, and the execution of that signal handler continues, and once the execution gets completed, the control will be returned to the process. Okay. So again that control will be returned to the process from where the process has started the execution of that particular user defined signal handler. Okay. So this is how the kernel will provide the support to the signals. Okay. So it will have the process table. So each process table will contain an array of signal flags, where signal flags will be associated with the corresponding signals. Okay. So whenever a signal is sent to the process, so corresponding signal flag will be set by the kernel. Okay. And if the process is in the sleeping mode, so kernel will be responsible for everything, so it will reschedule the process and it will start the execution of the process once again. Okay. And suppose the signal is pending at the process side, in that case the kernel will check the value of the signal flag. If it is 0, default action will be performed. If it is 1, the signal will be ignored, and if it is having any other value other than 0 and 1, the user defined signal handler will be executed. Okay. So now let us move on to the next concept. Next topic is signal API. Okay. So this signal API, it is used for handling the signal. So the prototype is like this. So the header file includes the signal.h and the name of the API is signal. Okay. So here it takes two arguments. The first one is the signal number. Actually it is an integer signal value, nothing but the signal identifier. So it is a signal number such as SIG, INT, okay, SIG, TERM. So just in the previous topic I have discussed about these signals, right? These are nothing but integer flags. Yes. So this is the first argument. So that is the signal number. And the second argument, it is a function pointer to the user defined signal handler. Okay. So that's why I am making use of star here. It's a function pointer to the user defined signal handler. So it takes an integer as a formal argument, so that's why we are mentioning it as an integer. Okay. So the return type of this signal API is void. So it takes two arguments. First one is nothing but the integer type signal number. Okay. And the second argument is nothing but the function pointer to the user defined signal handler. So now let us discuss about this API with an example. This program will catch the signal SIG term. So that is process termination signal. So this program will catch the signal sig term and it will ignore the signal sig int. So that is interruption signal, and then it will perform the default action of the signal sig SEGV. So that is segmentation signal. So the signal that is generated when there is segmentation fault. We are considering three signals here. One is process termination signal, and another one is process interruption signal, and another one is segmentation fault signal. So here this program will catch the sig term. So that is process termination signal. Okay, and it will ignore the interruption signal and it will perform the default action of the segmentation fault signal. Okay. So we have included statements here, signal.h, and then this is user defined function. So nothing but the user defined signal handler for this sig term. So here this function will catch the sig term signal, nothing but the process termination signal. Okay. So here what is happening? So I will just go on with the main function and later I will explain this. So main function, first we are invoking the signal API. The first argument is the integer signal number. As I said, the integer flags such as sig term, sig int, I already told you, right. So here I am just making use of the termination signal, so sig term, and the second one I am calling the user defined signal handler, that is catch underscore sig. Okay. So the control will come here, catch underscore sig, it is the user defined signal handler. So here I am passing the signal number, so that means the particular signal. Okay. So inside that I am calling once again the signal and I am trying to catch that particular signal, and I am printing that catch underscore sig colon the signal number. So I am just saying that through this program I will catch this sig term. I am just printing out this. Okay. So this is with respect to the process termination signal. So it will catch that signal. Okay. And next we are invoking the signal API once again, and this time it is for interruption signal. So that's why SIGINT and followed by SIG underscore IGN. Actually these two values, SIG underscore IGN and then SIG underscore DFL, these two are the manifested constants that are defined under signal.h. Okay. So these two are the manifested constants that are defined under signal.h. So now let us see what are these constants. So SIG underscore DFL means the value is 0. Okay. SIG underscore IGN means the value is 1. Okay. So here I am making use of the value 1 to this sig int. So if you remember, when I was explaining about the kernel support for signals, I told you that if the signal flag value is 0, it will perform the default action, and if the signal flag value is 1, it will ignore the signal, right. So in this case what will happen? So the interruption signal will be ignored. Okay. So the next signal is segmentation fault signal. So that is represented by SIG Okay. So here I am passing the manifested constant SIG underscore DFL. So DFL means value is 0. So I already told you, if the value is 0, then the default action takes place. So here just we are illustrating the signal API, and this program will catch the sig term. So that is the process termination signal, and it will ignore the interruption signal, and the default action of the segmentation fault signal will be performed. Okay. So next, this signal API, so it is defined under Unix system. Okay. So particularly the Unix system version 3 and then Unix system version 4 does not support this signal API. So instead of signal API, we have another API, an alternative API, that is, as I said, the alternative API that is supported for Unix system version 3 and version 4 is nothing but the SigSet API. Okay. So this is an alternative API of signal API. So here again it is defined under signal.h header file, and the return type is void. It takes two arguments, one is signal number and another one is the function pointer to the user defined signal handler. That means this is similar to signal API. Okay. Both the arguments, return type, everything is same as that of signal API. So but the name of the API differs here for this Unix system version 3 and version 4. So this here the name is SigSet instead of signal. Okay. So this is about the signal API. So now let's move on to the next concept. Next topic is signal mask. first let us understand the concept of signal mask. Okay, so each process will have a signal mask, nothing but a set of signals that are blocked for that process. Okay, so the name itself says signal mask, that means they are blocked for that particular process. So these signals that are blocked, okay, will depend on the recipient process in order to get unblocked and in order to get handled accordingly. Okay, so if the signal is ignored and blocked, in that case it is implementation dependent whether the process has to keep it as pending or whether to ignore that particular signal. Okay, so I will repeat the concept once again. So signal mask, that means each process in the Unix system will have a set of signals that are blocked. So that is nothing but the signal mask. So in other words, we can say each process will have a signal mask. So the list of the set of signals that are blocked. Okay, so these signals will depend on the process. Which process? The recipient process. So the process has to decide whether to unblock these processes and handle it accordingly. Okay, suppose these signals has to be ignored and blocked, in that case it is implementation dependent. Okay, so the process will decide based on the implementation whether to keep that signal as pending or whether to discard or whether to completely block that signal. So this is the concept of signal mask. So the signal mask can be retrieved, the information about the signal mask on a process can be retrieved, or the signal mask can be set by using an API called SIGPROS mask API. Okay, so the prototype is like this. So here the API is SIGPROS mask. Okay, so this has the return type integer int. So if this process, if this API has executed successfully, in that case it returns 0. Okay, if it is executed successfully, it returns 0. If there is any error, it returns -1. Okay, so it has got 3 arguments. The first one is command. So let me take up that later. So second argument is new mask, which is of type sigset_t. Okay, so this new mask will specify the new signal mask, nothing but the set of signals which has to be blocked on the calling process. Okay, so it contains the new signal mask, nothing but the set of signals that has to be blocked for the calling process. So this argument, the first argument command, so it has got 3 values depending on the new mask. Okay, so now let us see what are the possible values for this command argument. So first one is sig_set mask. So if this value is given as the first argument, in that case it overrides the already available signal mask with the new mask. Okay, suppose the value is given like this, sig_block. In this case, so the new mask, okay, so in addition to the available signal mask of this particular calling process, this new mask will also be added. Okay, so I will repeat once again. The first one means if I am using the first value as the first argument as the command, okay, in that case the new mask will override the existing signal mask. If I am using the second one as the command value, in that case, in addition to the existing signal mask, new mask will also be added. Okay, so in the third one, sig_unblock, in this case, so the signals, the set of signals that is mentioned here as a new mask, so that will be unblocked from the calling process. Okay, so this new mask is nothing but the set of signals which has to be blocked. Okay, so and the third argument is old mask. So this represents the original signal mask, okay, which was given for the calling process. And suppose, as I said, here new mask will contain a set of signals that has to be blocked, right? Suppose if this is given as null, in that case even the command will be 0. That means the command argument has to be ignored, because command value, the command argument exists only based on the new mask argument value. Okay. So this is about the SIG process mask. So this API is used to query the, to retrieve the information about the signal mask of a calling process, and also we can set the signal mask for that calling process. Okay. So here this is the API. So along with this, actually one more point, here we have used one data type, that is SIG set underscore T. So this is a data type that is defined under signal.h. Okay. This data type contains bit flags, where each bit flag will be corresponding to the each signal. Okay. So each bit flag will be for particular signal. So based on this, there are some more set of APIs. Okay. So these are set of APIs. So these APIs are called SIG set ops, okay, functions. So these APIs are also called as SIG set ops functions. So nothing but signal set operations functions. Okay. So these are used to check the presence of signals along with the signal underscore, SIG set underscore T variable. Okay. So the first API is SIG empty set. So this API will clear all the flags of the particular SIG mask. Okay. So it will clear all the flags in the SIG mask. The second one, SIG add set. So this will set the flags corresponding to the signal with the number SIG number, okay, in the signal mask. Okay. And next one, SIG del set. So name itself says, that means it clears the flags corresponding to the signal with the number sig num, okay, in the SIG mask. Okay. So here what we are providing? We are providing the signal number, that means in the complete signal mask for that particular signal, so the flag will be cleared. Where in this case, in this complete signal mask, nothing but the set of signals, right? So set of signals that has to be blocked. In that complete set of signals, particular signal, okay, particular signal has to be set. Okay. But in this case, in the entire signal mask, that means the complete set of signals, all the flags has to be cleared. Similarly here, SIG fill set, in this case all the flags in the signal mask has to be set. So here all the signals, that means the set of signals in this signal mask will be set, where in this case all the flags will be cleared. Okay, understand properly. So this is for all the flags under this signal mask. But here in these two cases, not all the signals, only the particular signal that is identified by the signal number. Okay. So last one is SIG is member. So this indicates whether this corresponding SIG number is present in this particular signal mask or not. Okay. So here all the functions, all the APIs has the return type integer. So all this starting 4 APIs returns 0 if it is executed successfully, returns -1 if there is any error. But in this case, the last one, so this returns 0. Okay. So this returns 0 only if the particular signal number is present in the signal mask. Okay. So 1 if it is not present, so 0 if it is present, if it is set. Okay. So if it is not set, in that case 1 it will return, and -1 if any error has occurred during the execution of this API. So these APIs are nothing but the six set of functions. Okay, so these are supported by BSD Unix, okay, and then POSIX standards. So now let us write a program to illustrate the usage of these APIs. So this program, it checks whether the signal, SIGINT signal, okay, is present in the signal mask. So whether it is present in the process signal mask or not, and also it clears the segmentation signal from the signal mask. Okay, so understand properly. Signal mask means it contains a set of signals that is blocked for the calling process. Okay, so that is blocked for the process. So here we are just checking whether this SIGINT, so that means interruption signal, is present in the signal mask or not, and also we are clearing the segmentation fault signal from the signal mask. Okay, so here the include statements, and I am declaring the signal mask of type sigset_t. So signal, I have included signal.h. Okay, and very first what I am doing, I am calling the API SIG_empty set. Okay, so just now I have told you that this API will clear the flags in the signal mask. Okay, it will clear all the flags in the signal mask. Okay, so next I am calling the API, I am invoking the API SIG_pros mask. So here it contains 3 arguments. The first one is command, and then second one is new mask, and the third argument is old mask. So I am not passing anything, the new mask, so obviously the first one will also be 0. So third argument means the original mask. I am just retrieving the information. Okay, if it is executed successfully, so then no problem, the control will come here. If it is -1, there is some error. I am just printing that error message by using p_error function. Okay, and then exit. I am terminating the program here itself if there is any error. So if there is no error, else portion will be executed, else part will be executed. So here what I am doing, I am just adding what I am filling, what I am setting. I am just setting the SIGINT flag to the signal mask. Okay, so I am again invoking the API SIG_add_set. Here this API will set the SIGINT flag to the signal mask. Okay, so first portion is done. So next what I am doing here, I am again invoking the SIG_del_set. So here I am deleting the signal SIG_ACGV. So that means the segmentation fault signal from the signal mask. That means I am clearing the segmentation flag signal from the signal mask. Okay, so after that I am once again invoking the SIG_pros mask. Okay, so here I am passing the new mask argument. So new mask means SIG mask. So here the SIG mask will be updated like this. So this will be added to the signal mask. Okay, and then segmentation flag will be removed from the signal mask. So the updated signal mask is here, and I am sending the command value like this. So just now I had told you that the possible 3 command values. Okay, so the first one set mask, third one block, and then second one block, and the third one unblock. So first one set mask means it will override the original signal mask with the new signal mask. Okay, so if it is executed successfully, no problem. If it is -1, then I am printing this by using the error message. Okay, so this entire program, this will add the signal int, so that means interruption signal to the signal mask, and also it will clear the segmentation fault signal from the signal mask. So this is about the signal mask API. Okay, so in today's class we have discussed about the signals, and then we have listed, we have seen some of the signals. Signals are nothing but the integer flags. Okay, and then kernel support for those signals, and then signal API, and then the concept of signal mask. Okay, so further we will continue in the next session. Thank you.